You know he ignores you. Silence is an answer, and this answer echoes louder for those who fear absence. The reality is clear. He disappears. You observe. He distances himself. You wait. Every time he disappears, you justify it. And yet, the pattern persists. He reappears, makes promises. Words are cast as bait, but consistency never comes. You adapt. Accept the game, even knowing you are not the one in control. His fear is evident. He trembles when you step away. Your absence weighs on him, even if he pretends it doesn't. This isn't confusing. It's a cycle. You stay because uncertainty is familiar, but the bond only exists because you sustain it. If you are not there, the game is over. The truth is that staying still is also a decision. You have power. Your absence can be a tool. Every time you withdraw, you question the dynamic. There is no magic here, just actions and reactions. If he doesn't care, then why are you available? The change will not come from him. It starts with you. Every choice you make reflects what you accept. And that you already know. The reality has already been presented. You recognize the pattern, but you continue to play it. Hope is treacherous. It is a shadow that trails, enveloping every thought, every action. You are not blind to this. You know the promises are just words in the wind. With each reunion, you notice the game. He tries to be charming, but he cannot mask the distance. An empty smile, glances that divert before meeting. What once seemed like affection is now just a distant echo. And you find yourself in a space of emotional anesthesia. The feelings no longer boil as before. You have identified them, categorized them, and yet you continue. It is a strange dance between what you desire and what you actually have. The shadows lurk in the corners of your mind, reminding you that something is wrong. But you keep moving nonetheless. When he appears, an internal turmoil takes over. Your heart races. There is an anticipation that you know you shouldn't have. It's a trap. Each reunion is a test, a repeating cycle, like a movie you've seen many times. The plot is predictable. He talks about the future, a future that never arrives. You listen, but logic begins to outweigh hope. With every word, a detail is revealed, the disdain for the now. He is not present, and you, full of expectations, feel the weight of your own illusions. Deep down, an inner voice cries out for change, but you silence it. You prefer the familiar pain to the uncertainty of the unknown. This pain is comfortable because you have learned to live with it. You observe others around you. Couples embracing, laughter resonating, all the love that seems so close and yet so distant. It is not just him, it's the situation. It's your continuous choice to stay. Every friend wonders why you accept so little. What they do not see is that doubt is a habitual place, and when the longing tightens, you seek reasons for your presence. Maybe today will be different, you think. Maybe he will change. But the truth is that each interaction is a reflection of what you have decided to accept. You are not a passive spectator. Each time you submit, the line between pain and acceptance becomes thinner. You isolate yourself. The fear of losing something you never had turns into a burden, and in that silence, you convince yourself that you need him. There is comfort in the need, a prison you built yourself, and so the chains become a part of your daily life. In moments of solitude, the reflection persists. You find yourself looking in the mirror. You ask who you really are, a shadow or someone fighting to assert themselves. The answer is uncertain. The image rewinds, a reminder of what you could become. Life doesn't wait. Opportunities slip away. The possibility of change becomes increasingly remote, and yet you cling to what you know. There is no courage to challenge what is established. The fear of what could be is greater than the desire to break free. And in the meantime, the cycle continues. It reappears, promises again. You give it one more chance, allow yourself to believe. But deep down you feel the weight of responsibility on your shoulders. This internal struggle is real. You can't escape from yourself. The bond remains because you decide it should. Everyone is fighting their internal battles, but you, in particular, are fighting against your own discontent. You build high walls, elaborate justifications, but the structure is fragile. And when he leaves again, you realize the cost of your decision. You don't need more time. Clear directions don't come from those who don't care. The only thing you truly need is a cut, a separation. but the heart still believes, still seeks what isn't present. This tragic comedy of waiting becomes exhausting, and thus reality resonates. The change will not come from him, but from you. You need to stop waiting for him to do something. The first step is recognizing that total surrender brings no rewards. It's necessary to act, not just dream. What's at stake is your life. Not just any story, but your story. And the narrative only progresses when you decide to rewrite the script. You have the pen and the paper. Use them. The reality has been presented. And as reality imposes itself, you feel the weight of repetition. Each reunion is an echo of the previous ones. He promises changes, but the words dissolve in the air. They are empty. You realize that you believe in the possibility of transformation, but not in its probability. The promises are like dry leaves carried by the wind. You hope he clings to one of them. But time teaches. What seems to be a chance is, in fact, a vicious cycle. The adrenaline of the reunion mixes with the frustration of unfulfilled promises, and you find yourself in a maze with no way out. When he appears, a thread of hope is lit. But soon, that thread turns into a shard of crystal, sharp and painful. The interactions become a minefield. Every word you say carries expectation. Every smile can be a shield or a mask, and doubt settles like an unwanted intruder. But you continue. Like a puppet on the strings of indecision, you question yourself. Why are you still here? Time passes, but your answers remain floating. Deep down, there is an echo of dissatisfaction, and it resounds with every beat of your heart. Familiar eyes watch your situation. They see what you don't want to admit. Why do you accept so little, they ask. But you know the answer doesn't lie in their words. It is buried under layers of defense. The fear of being left behind is an ungrateful poison, fueling dependency. You remember moments that bring you joy, shared laughter, knowing glances. Sometimes you even imagine a future where promises are kept. But this fanciful construction often collapses at the slightest touch of reality. You've seen this happen. You've experienced the betrayal of your own hope. Over time, the verb to wait becomes a constant companion, waiting for him to change, waiting for him to see your worth, waiting for him to realize that you're there, willing to give him another chance. But what are you really waiting for? He himself has become an illusion, a projection of unfulfilled desires, and in that space, you get lost. The love that should be light becomes a burden, an invisible net that tightens with each interaction. The conversations that should bring comfort are merely reminders that something essential is missing. The clash between what you desire and what you live intensifies. It is an internal struggle, a conflict between the desire to be loved and the need to love oneself. When did you start putting his interests above your own? The answers do not come easily. Perhaps it is easier to ignore them. The shadows continue to whisper. They speak about choices, about how you could set boundaries, but you cling to the idea that he might change. One day he will realize, but that day never comes. Looking in the mirror becomes a painful exercise. The reflection gradually reveals not only the physical, but also the emotional wear and tear. The eyes no longer shine. The expression becomes a mask of compliance, and you realize that you have been your own jailer, building barriers that sink more than they protect. In this moment of revelation, something inside you begins to shake. The recognition that the change will not be proposed. The transformation will not come from a gesture from him. It needs to come from you. This understanding is a deep cut, not a relief, but an abrasive necessity. Freedom can be terrifying, but the familiar pain becomes even more unbearable. And it is this duality that you face. The struggle between the desire to stay and the need to leave. You touch the surface of the unknown. You feel the resistance, but also the anxiety for transformation. The voices echoing around you are not the only ones to be heard. There is an internal voice that begins to gain strength, one that questions, that challenges. And though timid, this voice represents the key to your liberation. With each new interaction, you are challenged. The next step is clear. Embrace the uncertainty, not as a weakness, but as an opportunity for rebirth. You are not a victim. You are the protagonist, and this story is yours to rewrite. The cost of staying is now visible, and as you move away from the pattern, a new path reveals itself. There are no guarantees, just the chance of meeting again. You no longer need to wait for him to make the choice for you. The choice is yours. You hold the pen. The paper is blank, and so the narrative transforms. You may choose to walk away, and in doing so, there will be no return. This decision is not a break, but a breakthrough. Your life, your story finally deserves to be fully lived, and the reality has already been presented. The blank paper awaits, and even so, fear settles in like a persistent shadow. Uncertainty is a maze without an exit, and you hesitate. But there is something between the lines that you cannot ignore. How much have you put aside in the name of this waiting? How much of your own worth has faded while you dedicated yourself to building illusions? The empty promises now seem like echoes of a past you insist on reliving. He is not the only one to blame. The responsibility is shared. You built this castle of hopes on a land of sand. Your current reality is, in large part, a product of the decisions you made, or more precisely, the lack of them. You see yourself reflected on a murky surface. What should shine is now obscured by a veil of self-deception. You wonder when you began to neglect your own needs. Did the expectation of love become a prison? The days pass, and each awaited moment, each reunion brings an expectation that quickly turns into disappointment. There is an exhausting repetition that seems to drain your essence. What once seemed promising now carries an unbearable weight. Meanwhile, conversations with friends become a minefield. Worrying glances, unanswered questions. Why do you accept this? Their doubt echoes in your mind, but you choose silence. The reason for staying is a conversation you avoid having even with yourself. And in this silence, you find yourself in a vigorous cycle of rationalizations. Maybe he's just going through a hard time. Who am I to judge him? These questions begin to turn into justifications. The need to be understood becomes greater than the need to be respected. As interactions start to empty out, a new feeling invades. Anger. A silent anger that burns internally. Anger at him, but above all, anger at yourself. Anger for the fragility you allowed to set in. Anger for thinking you could make someone see your worth. The game has changed. The silence turned into internal screams. And inside you a battle unfolds. One part wants to believe while the other is tired of waiting. This internal struggle is not visible. No one sees the empty spaces occupying your mind, but they are there, taking up all the space that should be filled with self-compassion and self-esteem. You begin to realize that change needs to be more than just a mere wish. It needs to be an action. However, acting is terrifying. What comes next? The unknown becomes an abyss, and you hesitate to take the first step. Self-confidence falters. The mirror reflects a distorted image. But deep down, a spark emerges. What if you walked away? What if you decided to prioritize your own emotional health? What would happen if you left everything behind? There's no simple answer. Each scenario that arises in your mind is accompanied by laughter and tears, by pain and hope. Within this turmoil, a moment of clarity appears. You remember what it's like to live unrestrained, without empty promises, without expectations that never materialize. The feeling of freedom stands out like a beacon amidst the storm. Then a new thought emerges. What if you were ready to redefine your concept of love? What if your perspective changed to include your own well-being before others? Much of your life has been dedicated to understanding love through the eyes of those who couldn't see what you truly are. Memories are not just pain, they are lessons. You have the power to shape what you've learned. The story doesn't need to be stuck in the past. It can be rewritten, and the pages can be filled with new narratives. With this new vision, you realize that time is an ally, not an adversary. Allowing yourself to heal is a choice, and you decide to start now. No longer waiting for him to remember you. No longer seeking validation in that gaze that once made your heart race. From this moment on, you understand that waiting is not synonymous with love. It's a form of imprisonment, and if you walk away, you're not abandoning anything. You are finally reclaiming yourself. It's time to stop questioning his choices and start questioning yours. What do you desire? What are you willing to accept? A new path unfolds before you, a path where your needs are at the center. What was once a void is now space to rediscover yourself. The world becomes more vibrant as you release the chains that bind you. The reality has been presented, and the truth is this: only you can change your destiny, and that choice is a celebration of your ability to transform. The pen is in your hand. Write new chapters.